Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be going over practice writing, equation, and interpreting the y-intercept. I'm going to go over problems 1, 3, 6, and 12 for you, and these should give you templates for solving the rest of the problems. So I included within these different word problems, I included all the problems that have different types of setups. And then number 12 down at the bottom is just figuring out how to take 2 points and come up with a line from 2 points. So this one says Lynn is tracking the progress of her plant's growth. Today the plant is 5 centimeters high. The plant grows 1.5 centimeters per day. All right, so in our notes in the past we talked about two numbers, two variables, and this is going to be a slope intercept usually. Okay, so this will be slope intercept form type of problem. So we have to, we always want to highlight the numbers. Okay, and we want to pay special attention to the number that is followed by the word per, because that's going to give us a clue that that's going to be our slope, which is our rate of change. Okay, so this is what we're going to call M, and then this right here is what we're going to call B. So B is our y-intercept. It's where the graph crosses the y-axis. And M is our slope. Okay? So the first question says find an equation that represents the plant's height after any given number of days. All right, so I can just say, we'll just say that we could write it one of two ways. We can just say x and y, and we can define what x is. So if I say x equals number of days. Okay, and y is going to equal the height, and we'll call it in centimeters. Right? So my first question, so for A, what I'm doing here is says find an equation that represents the plant's height after any given number of days. So M is going to be my slope, so 1.5, so M is 1.5, and B, which is my y-intercept, is 5. So remember, y equals mx plus b. That's slope intercept form. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just replace. We're going to go ahead and replace the b with 5, and we're going to replace the m with 1.5. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and erase this. Go right here. So I'm going to put in 1.5 right here, and I'm going to put in 5 right here. Okay, so today the plant is 5 centimeters high. So that basically is saying that the starting point, the plant starts off at 5 centimeters high. Okay, so A is done. There it is, slope intercept form. So to solve B, to look at B, what I'm going to do is realize that 9 represents days represents the x variable. So x is going to equal 9. All right? And so what that means is how tall is a plant after 9 days? So if days is represented by x and y is going to be the height I'm going to be solving for the height after 9 days. So y equals 1.5 in parentheses. I'll write it in parentheses. Anytime we are substituting things in, just put them in parentheses. 1.5 times 9 plus 5. So I like to do things vertically, so I'm going to go ahead and simplify this at one step at a time right here. So I'm going to say 1.5 times 9. I just go to my calculator. So 1.5 times 9 equals 13.5 plus 5. All right? And 13.5 plus 5 is going to give me 18.5 centimeters. Okay? So it says, how tall is the plant after 9 days? The plant is 18.5, write that, 18.5 centimeters after 9 days. Okay? So there it is. I circled each answer. Circle or highlight each answer. If you got highlights up here, maybe circle the answers. Okay? If you are underlining up here, then highlight the answers. Okay? So let's go down to 3. Let's look at 3. So it says all tickets for a concert are the same price. The ticket agency adds a fixed fee to every order. A person who orders 5 tickets pays $93. A person who orders 9 tickets pays $57. So just to understand, if it says the ticket agency adds a fixed price. What does that mean? Adds a fixed price? That means that there's going to be, in slope-intercept form, there's going to be a starting point. There's going to be a y-intercept. So you're going to start at a certain amount. But we really don't know what that amount is yet, because what they're giving us, if you remember back to what we had talked about, if we have 4 numbers, then it's usually giving you 2 points. So it's usually 2 points. All right, so first write an equation relating the total cost to the number of tickets purchased. All right, so I can write this down. I can say x equals number of tickets purchased, and y is going to equal the total cost. Okay? So they're giving us 2 points, and all we need are 2 points to find the equation of the line. So if we remember, we can go back and we can set up an xy table of values, and we can say 5 comma 93, that's 1 point. Okay, 5 tickets cost $93. 3 tickets cost $57. Okay, so I can go either way. I can go, all right, what do I do to go from 3 to 5 plus 2. What do I do to go from 57 to 93? So we're looking at 6, 36. Okay? Alright, so my slope is going to be 36 over 2. Alright? So slope is 36 over 2. That can be simplified. I want to simplify it if I can simplify it. So that's going to be 18. Okay? So my slope is going to be 18. So now what we have to do, though, is we have to figure out what the equation, now we can do this a couple different ways, but if we're wanting to find an equation, we can put this one now in point slope form. Okay? Y equals m times x minus x1 plus y1. Right? And so if we say, all right, let's say that this is x1 and this is y1. So 5 is going to represent x1 and 93 is going to represent y1, and m is going to represent 18 is going to represent m. Then I can just go ahead and substitute it in. And so I go over here and I erase m, and I'm going to put 18. And then I'm going to erase x1, and I'm going to put 5. And I'm going to erase y1, and I'm going to put 93. Okay? So there would be my equation. All right? And the next part would be just answering the next question, which is part B. So if I have enough room over here, I'm going to go ahead and show you part B by just, it says how many tickets, how much, what's going to be the cost of 4 tickets. So 4 tickets, okay, the number of tickets purchased, that's going to be X. All right, so for B, we're going to say X equals 4. Okay, and now we can substitute it in. Let me write it up here. B, we're going to say X equals 4 because we're talking about 4 tickets. Now we have this equation, Y equals 18. I'm just going to rewrite that down. And we have X minus 5 plus 93. Okay? So I'm going to go over here, and instead of X, I'm going to plug in 4. Alright? So we know that 4 minus 5 gives me negative 1. So this right here is going to be negative 1. So negative 1, when we say parentheses, negative 1 in parentheses means negative 1 times 18. Well, negative 1 times 18 is negative 18. And we're going to say plus 93. Okay? And that's what Y is going to equal. Well, we don't leave it there. We're going to go ahead and say Y equals, well, what's 93 minus 18? All right, if I want to plug it into my calculator, I can say 93 minus 18 gives me 78. What does 78 refer to? Talking about how much do 4 tickets cost. So I'm going to write it out as 4 tickets cost $78. Period. All right, so 4 tickets. So we have between 5 tickets and 3 tickets is 4 tickets, so that would make sense that 78 is between 57 and 93. Okay? So 78 would fall right in here, and 4 tickets would fall right in here. Okay, so that would make sense in that way. Okay? So then we're looking at attorney A, so we're going down to number 6, and we're saying attorney A charges $250 for initial meeting and $150 per hour. So remember I said, when you're highlighting things, look for a per after a number, and that's going to tell you that right off the bat, that's going to say that that's going to be my M value, my slope. So that would make this my B value, which is my y-intercept. So then I read on, and it says for all hours worked after that. So it says write an equation in slope-intercept form. So now they're telling us specifically we have to write it in slope-intercept form. And then we have attorney B charges this amount, $150 for the initial meeting and $175 per hour. So in that case, this one is going to be B, and this one is going to be my M value. Okay, and then it says find the charge for 26 hours. Okay. Oops. So find the charge for 26 hours of work for each attorney. Which one is better? Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and set the equations up, and we're going to say attorney A has a, we're putting it in a slope-intercept form, so we'd say y is going to be my cost. Y equals 150 times x, and x is going to be, I could write it up here, x is going to be the hours. And that'll be the same way for both of them, okay, for both attorneys. Hours and total cost, y is total cost. Okay, so 150 times x, which is going to represent our slope is 150. X is the number of hours, whatever we plug in there for that, and then our starting point, or y-intercept, is going to be 250. Okay, and then over here, we're going to write down B. So B, the y is going to equal 175. So they're charging a little bit more, $175 for every hour, but the initial fee is $150. So there's going to be a certain point that is going to say right off the bat it's going to be cheaper to go with with attorney B if there's a few just one a couple hours, 1 hour, 0 hours, right? It's going to be cheaper to go with attorney B because it's only $150 to start off. But then there's going to be a certain point where it's going to be cheaper to go with attorney A, and that's the point that we want to, that's what we're going to be talking about in systems of equations next, but we just want to know what it is for 26 hours, which one's better. Okay? So we know that it's 26 hours, so which one's better? So therefore, we need to know that x is going to equal 26. So we're going to plug it in, and we're going to say y equals 150 times 26 plus 250. Go in my calculator, and I type in 150 times 26, and I can just say plus 250, and there it is. $4,150. Make sure that that's right. $4,150 for attorney A. So let's plug it in over here. Y equals 175 times 26 plus 150. I plug it into my calculator, clear this one out. So, but this time I'm going to multiply 175 times 26 and then add to that $150. So $4,700 is going to be the fee for attorney B right here, and this one's going to be the fee for attorney A. It says find the charge for 26 hours of work. Which deal is better? Attorney A. Okay. Attorney A costs less for 26 hours. That's the question that they're asking, and we want to interpret that and write that in a sentence, in a full sentence. Attorney A costs less for 26 hours. If we wanted to be more specific, we could say exactly how much it costs less, right? Which is, what is it, $550 less. Okay, $550 less. But that's good enough right here. Attorney A costs less for 26 hours, and you've shown the work on it. That's how I know that you know, if you have shown your work, then I can see that you came up with the answer logically rather than just guessing. All right, so this part, the next part here, it says write the point slope form. So we're talking about point slope form this time of the equation of the line through those points. All right. So this one right here, you know, I'm making this after we've actually taken the unit test. But if you haven't taken the unit test, or there's some assignments that are in there that you have to do, this is just strictly, you know, figuring out how to take 2 points and put it into point slope form. All right. So if we have 2 points, then we can set them up in a table of values. X, Y, and then we could come up with the slope. So if I can get the slope, then I can put it into point slope form. And I can come up with the equation, and then if I wanted to, I could get the y-intercept by putting it into slope-intercept form. Okay. So same idea. I'm going to go ahead and say, all right, what do I do to go from -3 to -4? Well, I just subtract 1. -1 minus 3 gives me -4. What do I do to go from 4 to 2? Subtract 2. 4 minus 2 equals 2. All right? So my slope is going to be this y change, the vertical change, which is -2, over the horizontal change, which is -1. So -2 divided by -1 is 2. Okay, so now I have my slope. So I got to remember that my point slope form, that was up from the top there, but my point slope form is y equals m times x minus x1 plus y1. All right. You may also see it like this: y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. The only difference, I like this method right here better, down here, because this makes it easier to put it into slope-intercept form. But the only difference here is I've taken this and I've moved it over here. I've added y1 to the right side and to the left side, and they canceled out, and so I get this. Okay? All right, but in either case, let's look back up here and let's say that, all right, let's call this one x1. And then let's call this one y1. Okay? So if x1 is negative 3, then I just go down to my equation here. I take out x1, and I plug in negative 3. All right? So we have minus a negative 3, which ends up being a positive 3, y, or x plus 3. Okay? So then I take out y1, and y1 is going to be 4 from this right here. And m is going to be 2. Okay? All right. So the only thing that I want to do to, make it very clear is whenever I have a negative, two negatives, x minus a negative 3, minus a negative is a positive. So I'm going to erase that and put plus 3. Okay? All right? So if I were to write it, in the form that I listed right here, okay, well, all I have to do is just do the same thing that I did over there and just replace everything. Okay? So y minus y1, well, my y1 is 4, y minus 4, and then m is 2, okay, and x1 is going to be negative 3, and so that becomes a positive 3. All right, so that 2 times the quantity x plus 3 is the same in both of the equations. The only thing that's different is that negative 4 is on the left side on the top one, and then on the right side on the bottom one. Okay, so that's it. Either one of those is correct. Use those to work through each of the problems. Use those as templates.